Alright everyone, now we have news from the UK. Of course, they're voting on Brexit. There will be no second referendum. This is a huge win for the Brexiteers, because some of them, they wanted a second referendum. They wanted to have the people have another national popular vote on whether to continue having Brexit or to re-enter the EU, which, by the way, it's not even clear they would be allowed to do at this point, because some people in the EU are like, no, you're out, fuck off. It'd be very, very interesting if they got vetoed by the Italians or something like that. So that was defeated. That's a win. But then there was a loss for the Brexit movement, which is that they did vote to extend on triggering Article 50 or whatever it is for another several months, so until early summer, basically. So what's going to happen is now Theresa May continues to negotiate. Again, it's dumb that Theresa May is handling the negotiations. She was a Remainer. She is not a Brexiteer. When someone who doesn't really want to apply themselves to something is the one you put forth to negotiate on it, and their first ask is, hey, we're willing to give up basically anything. Give us a deal. And then I'll take it back to Parliament and see if they'll sign off on it, which they're not going to do because they don't want to get fired from their position by the population. You end up with the situation in the UK that you have now. They took somebody who didn't even want Brexit and put them in there to negotiate. This was warned against by Trump, who tweeted out, by the way, on this topic and said, look, she's handling it exactly the wrong way. She should have gone in, said, these are some things that I need to get out of you, make a big ask, refuse to back down on certain things, and then, it's not real, you actually will, but you can extract concessions from the other party. Big ask. You don't go in and weakly and meekly and say, well, I'm basically willing to do whatever you say. I am your bitch. I am your dog. Please abuse me. Dominatrix style. That's what Theresa May did with the EU in her negotiations. They should have Nigel Farage handle it. Especially to antagonize the people in the EU. It would have been funny, dude. It would be, there'd be so much tourism in the UK just from people who spout memes all day wanting to go over there and shake his hand. We'd be making billions of dollars a year, probably billions of pounds a year, just off of Nigel Farage fucking land over there. For 2 hours a day, says Parliament, Nigel Farage shall sit in this stall and shake people's hands for £10 a pop. You could probably pull it off, too. And then all, what's that, Ecstasy, that band had a song, Making Plans for Nigel. It'd be playing in the background until it drives him mad. And then crazy Nigel Farage, he starts dressing like weird, and he goes into the EU and says weird shit. It'd be funny. I know, I'm a little bit of a rant there. I think Farage is great. Here's the thing, though. What's probably going to happen is that they're going to try to kick this can down the road for months and months. They'll do it again. Like, they'll hit the end date again. And Parliament will vote down whatever non-deal Theresa May has. And because it won't have changed, it'll be the same, because the EU's already said, basically, we're at an impasse. We can't give you anything else, because you didn't ask for it. We're not going to, you're negotiating from weakness. Why should we budge? And then Theresa May will whine and say, oh, well, then you must grant another extension. And they'll grant another extension. They'll keep that going for years until finally they say, okay, it's been like 6 years. We need to have another referendum because a lot of the people that voted for it are dead. And then you watch. If that happens, they'll probably overwhelmingly vote for Brexit again. And then it'll just be, the UK will stay in this weird, vacuous gray area with regards to the EU for, I guess, the rest of time, because of the strangulated, bureaucratic, shitty nature of British politics being as it is. Unless you have a massive upswelling of left-wing or right-wingers within the Parliament there, fundamentally changing what the results would be. Yes, we'll accept this deal because we too, says Labour, because we too want to abuse the British people, because fuck everyone. No, we reject this. We're not extending, say the Tories maybe. We're just going to have a hard, go in dry Brexit, which is what you should have. You shouldn't have allowed Parliament to extend things. You should go in dry, have a no-deal Brexit, and then hammer out your trade deals afterwards. Why are you so fixated on just trading with the EU? And the whole thing is the globalists over there, the Remainers, like Theresa May, their entire goal is to fuck the negotiations up anyway. Their whole goal all along has been to make it so unpalatable that the UK would never accept the deals that were being offered, so that they could eventually have a hard Brexit, fuck the economy. I guarantee when you, at some point, probably have a hard Brexit, the first thing that will happen is that every person within your political structure that opposes sovereignty will talk to their business partners, their donors, their rich buddies, and say, fuck it all up. Crash the economy. have a bank run, destroy everything, make the UK as weak and feeble as possible, make people suffer. Because once they do that, then they can come out on the BBC and say, oh yeah, I'm sorry that you're suffering, but that's what happens under Brexit. You can look forward to 20 more years of this, folks. Don't worry, eventually we'll stop being third world, and then what'll end up happening is they'll say, oh, but there's a way out. We petition to rejoin the EU. Then we can vote. Everything will be fine. Don't worry, the economy will skyrocket. Everything will be great. Just re-enslave yourselves. Yeah, sometimes quitting can be hard. Dude, try to quit smoking. You smoke or drink or whatever. Try quitting your addiction. It's hard. You suffer. Long term, it's great. But, some person might come along and say, oh, man, you look terrible. You haven't had a drink in 3 weeks. Here, you can have some booze. Oh, you stopped smoking? Oh, you look miserable. Dude, you're not your old self. Just fucking take a Marlboro to take the edge off. And there are people that are like that. The EU's abusive, authoritarian rape lovers there is no different than, basically an abusive person. It's the same thing. It's the same basic principle anyway. But Theresa May has already gunked up the negotiations so much, it's not clear that you're ever going to... are they going to trade her out for someone who knows what they're doing? No, because that's not the goal. They don't want a Brexit. And if they have no choice but to allow a hard Brexit, they will make it as painful as possible. I've sparred with people like basically self-proclaimed socialists and bullshitters like that. They're like, well, no, if Brexit happens and the economy gets fucked, it'll be Brexit's fault. No, it won't. The fact that you're already technically out of the EU, any market changes have already been made. It's evident in the minds of all these sane investors that you're already out of the EU, essentially. So an economic downturn would be engineered in nature. And trade deals have already fallen through. You're technically already out of the EU as is. And then what Theresa May is offering you is, okay, we'll be subject to all your rules. We're going to have even worse trade deals, but we won't even have a vote. We won't even have a seat at the table in the EU's parliament. Yeah, what a wonderful deal. I wonder why the British people rejected such a fine deal. Oh, we're just going to pledge undying fealty to the EU and let them fuck us up the ass all day. I wonder why people possibly voted against that. It's a mystery to me. That's about all. Peace out.